when somebody says that they don't want to be with you, take that.
Welcome back to the Nonstop Podcast. My name is Erica, and I'm your host. On today's episode, I brought a couple of friends back to discuss dating in your 30s. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for entertainment purposes only. I have the beautiful Nia, who is coming back with us, and then I have a new face, Miss Christina. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and have these beautiful ladies introduce themselves, and we're going to get right into it, okay? So Nia, go ahead and start with you.
Okay, so I'm Nia. I'm from Maryland. I'm recently divorced and I have a little girl. I'm getting back into the dating world. As I said on part 1, it has been interesting to say the least.
It's dry out here, honey. Okay.
Yes.
And Christina?
My name is Christina, and you know me by Ledo. Some people call me both names. I live in LA right now. I'm from New York, and I do wellness and fitness training in Hollywood. And I teach trampoline class too, which is lit. So if you're
Love
from
it.
Hollywood, come through. Yeah. And I am single and ready to mingle, but mingling is
yes, ma'am.
rough.
You better say it.
It's rough.
Alrighty, so let's get right into it. So we're just gonna pick up right where we left off from part 1. And Nia, this one is for you since you are one of the OGs. Like, is money important to you within a relationship?
It is important. I just feel like now that where I'm at in my life, I want to travel. I want to do things. I just bought a house. I need you to at least match where I'm at. You know, I'm not saying you have to be this millionaire because I'm not a millionaire, but I do need you to have a little bit of coin so we can build with each other. I help you, you help me, but I can't be the only one bringing everything to the table. So I think it's definitely important, and especially as I get older. But when I was younger, it was like, oh, well, we can go to Chick-fil-A every day.
Not Chick-fil-A.
Well, no, back then it was like we can go to Popeyes. And that's fine. But now we got to do a little bit more than that. So yes, it's important.
Christina, did you want to add anything there?
I agree with you. And I'm going to say this. You can't be lazy. Money is a factor. I have to be very transparent. Money is a factor because I am very career driven. So I would like that to match. Yes, my drive. Let's match, motivate each other.
I agree with that 100%. So Christina, what do you feel is the biggest difference dating now versus in your 20s?
I'm extremely way more self-aware and way more emotionally intelligent.
Okay.
That being said, I know my worth a lot more, my tolerance for things that just don't serve me or things that are like below my frequency. I just don't allow them now, not in a negative way of like, oh, I'm not going to take this. If it's not for me, I just keep it pushing. I think I allowed too much of that when I was younger. And when you mature and you have more experience in traumas and hurt and pain and love and loss, it's just like you're more aware.
Yeah. I think that's just, it happens. You know, you go through different experiences, whether they're good or bad. And you, of course, learn. Some of us, maybe not so much. But the majority of us learn some things, you know what I mean? And then you kind of move on from there. I think for me, the biggest thing that's different, and I said this the first time, my peace. Like, I just cannot let somebody come in and mess up my peace. Like, it's a level of heaven that I've now accepted. And I'm like, okay, so this is it. This is the standard here. Now, if you're bringing down my peace, then we're going to have a problem. You know what I mean? I'm going to come back to you, Christina. So let's see. Do you date with an intention to get married or just to have fun? Or if there's another aspect of that, let me know.
At this point, I'm not really necessarily like, am I going to marry this person? But I'm dating with the intention of getting to know someone as a serious partner. It's like, I don't really want to waste my time. I am dating, for fun. In the same sense, like I want to get to know someone as a friend.
Yeah, for sure.
I want a friend first. I think nowadays people rush into everything, and they're like, "Well, what are we?" And it's like, be my friend first. Let's start there. That's where I'm at.
I like that. So, Nia, do you think getting out of your comfort zone will help you find a potential partner? Why or why not?
First, I'm trying to think of what is my comfort zone.
Oh, okay. That's a good thing to think of.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, let me go ahead and give you an example. My comfort zone is right in these 4 walls. I love being home. I mean, like, I'll go out, Nia, Christina. I'll go out, but like, I spend 99% of my time at home. So theoretically, I'm missing out on just outings. Like I'm missing out on people or, just going places, having experiences, and not necessarily that, they're at the club or the bar or whatever, but it's just being out and being around people. What I always hear is, your dream man is not going to knock on your door. So with that as an example, what do you ladies think?
So with that, I think I was bored one Saturday. I created a Bumble.
Yes.
That's totally out of my comfort zone. Totally. And I didn't even realize that with Bumble, the woman has to message the guy first.
Yeah. You don't
and
like
so
that,
I'm like, oh gosh, hi, how are you? It was so awkward. And so they have automated questions that you can send. And so I was sending like, oh, what do you do after 3 glasses of wine? This stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a conversation starter. Okay.
It is. Yeah. It was like an icebreaker. I was actually very proud of myself because you should see, I've messaged quite a few people.
Any conversations happening? Any dates happen? Come on, talk to us.
I had a date I hope they're not watching this because I had 2 dates. I had a date last Thursday.
Listen, you are single, honey.
With another one.
Yes, you better say it.
And they were nice.
I love that. See, so theoretically, yes, getting out of your comfort zone does help you find potential partners. Christina, what about you?
It's like I got to think about my comfort zone because I'm kind of the same way, girl. I'm a homebody, but it's also like I'm always in the gym. So the gym that I train at and teach at, it's filled with athletes. What gym? Look,
oh, wait a minute, you in Hollywood? Yeah, I gotta take a trip.
Yes. That's like my environment I'm used to. So I almost feel like I'm kind of always on guard and a little like I'm friendly because I go in, right? Like I train like the dudes and stuff. So it's like I'm comfortable there, but then I almost feel like when I'm not in the gym and there's guys in a different environment, I am out of my comfort zone.
Interesting.
Because they don't know me. And it's like I almost have to, I'm big on like intelligence and mental stimulation. So I'm like, I always feel like I have to like prove myself in that type of setting. Out of my comfort zone, it would be like out of the gym. I need to do more of that because I feel like I would meet somebody.
No, yeah, I totally get that. And it's interesting because just thinking like you work in a gym around a lot of people, I wouldn't see you as somebody who would be a homebody. Like I'd be cyber stalking her Instagram, and every time she's out there doing her thing, I'm like, damn. In my brain, I'm like, I need to get out the house. And I'm just like, it's just funny to hear you say that because I'm completely opposite. I probably should go to somebody's gym sometime soon, but I mean, listen, okay. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome to hear you say that. And I love the different points of view from all of us. So Christina, I'm actually going to stick with you though. Does your family or friends ever mention or ask, when will you get married or have kids? And if so, how does that make you feel?
I don't have a big family and I'm an only child. So there's been a few times my mother has mentioned it, but she hasn't as of recent. But there's a few times she's like, what? So when, I can't wait till you have kids. What? I need a man first.
Yeah, hello. Wait a minute. You rushing me.
Yeah. But I honestly feel like I'm a little bit of an outlier as a woman. My friends, like, they're always like talking about a man. Some of them are married or this, that, and the third. And I have been single for quite some time. But I really think it's just because I've been focused on career. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't like societal standards like, oh, you should be married by this or this or this. We're all different. Life is about learning, living, loving. And I don't feel pressure, but I definitely anticipate the day that I meet someone. Like I've been manifesting it more.
Okay.
That I find a partner because I don't think I've ever felt that. And I want to feel like I have, my twin flame, my soulmate, one or the other. I want to feel that. But I don't feel pressure, but I'll definitely be a good mom because the way that I treat my dog, I'm telling
that's
you,
a good
like
start.
I'm gonna be a good mom. Come here, baby. Like
that's what I say.
Yeah.
That's how you gotta practice. So I actually have a couple questions, and it kind of piggies back on some of what you just talked about. And this actually can go to both of you. Do you have a dating and or life timeline? Why or why not?
Oh, my timeline is all jacked up now. I feel like it's all jacked up. I feel like the timeline was, I guess, how people envision it. You meet someone, you get married. We got married first, and we had a kid. So I feel like I'm going backwards now, in a sense. I don't feel like I have a timeline now. It's just kind of me finding myself, and me figuring out how I see my future meeting someone else, and then including them in my daughter's life, because that's what I think about a lot. Like,
yeah,
that's something really, really heavy. So
Yeah.
she still thinks mommy and daddy are married.
It's
She gets it, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like now going forward, and because I want to have just one more. So I feel kind of pressured to do that. You know, as you get older, people make it seem like when you're being in your 30s, you are one foot in the grave. Like literally, you
Real
are
talk.
about
As a
to.
woman, absolutely.
And it's ridiculous. You see these memes talking about, oh, 30 is so old. And it's just like,
What?
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So my timeline is kind of, I don't know. I'm just enjoying life right now. You know,
As you
enjoying
should.
just, even just dating, just being able to do what I want to do. You know, because being married, I know marriage is it's tough. It's tough, and it's a lot of sacrifice, and sometimes you can lose yourself in that, and you can lose yourself with having a child too.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
this is kind of like Nia time.
Yeah, and I love that. See, now I know that you were saying your timeline is messed up, or maybe you feel like you're going back, but I don't think so. I think those things are experiences that add to who you are as a person, and it goes back into what you're trying to say. Like, it's time to be you. Like, you got married and you did that. You had that life, and not to say you won't get married again, but right now it's trying to focus on what you like, what you don't like, what you're willing to stand for. Like, you have that experience now to take to a next relationship.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's wonderful.
Hello,
talk to him
now.
Yes,
For sure. I mean, obviously I don't have a kid, but that is a whole giant, like, you are now giving and providing for another human being, and that will definitely deplete your cup. So
Absolutely.
like, I think it is definitely like your time, discover yourself. I'm kind of on the same page. Like, I feel like I've given a lot of myself in relationships of any kind in my life. I'm a very giving person. And I kind of like had a reality check the past 3 years. Now I'm always going to be giving, but now I'm making sure that I'm giving to myself, making myself happy, growing as much as I can in all capacities, and then giving to others, because it's like the oxygen mask thing, which, I mean, hello, that's your thing. Like, I'm giving everyone the damn mask,
and you can't breathe.
Yep,
Right.
there you go. But it's right.
Yeah.
That's 100% right. Even when I see my mom friends, you know what I mean? I'm like, they do so much for their kids and their babies. And I'm like, not to say that you have to be selfish, but I'm like, take some time for you. You know what I mean? I can't imagine how hard that is on a regular basis to be worried about if this little person is eating, if they're sleeping well, are they sick? I mean, and that's just one person. That's not your husband. That's, that's the whole thing. And you haven't even gotten to yourself. You're not talking about work or anything else. So, I mean, I give you credit, girl. You be out here doing it. All right. And Christina, I have a follow-up for you. How do you feel about dating someone with children or a past marriage?
I've done both. I try not to discriminate based off of that. If I'm into a guy and I find out he has a child, it's not like an automatic no, but it is an awareness that I'm definitely not your second priority. Like, I'm not, there's always going to be that ahead. For me, it's kind of like I want to go into it kind of on the same wavelength. It's not a no for me, but it's not a deal breaker. But and then I think a previous marriage is actually kind of helpful, because then I feel like they have a little bit more experience. They have more, I mean, depending on the circumstances, but it could mean that they're a little bit more aware in a relationship, or it could mean that they're not.
Well, we know why the last one didn't work, huh? All right. So to both of you ladies, and I think I might have asked you this last time around, Nia, but how has your ideal potential partner changed from when you were in your 20s?
I want someone to be confident in themselves. I just feel like in past relationships, or at least in my 20s, some guys are very insecure. And so you have to come to the table confident. You have to, like, if I say I'm going out, please don't blow my phone up all night. That will it might get you cussed out, because I don't like that, especially now that I have been, single for a while. It's just like, no, I can't deal with that. So you have to come to the table with confidence. You have to be able to trust that, I'm not doing anything. This is when we're in a relationship, not just dating. Like, when I'm in a relationship, trust that, I'm not out here just acting a fool. That's like the biggest thing that they didn't have in the past, is confidence. And you have to have a life of your own, because I have friends, and I go out, and I have a lot going on. We're not going to be attached at the hip. So I want you to have friends, and do things with yourself, or by yourself, or with your friends.
That's healthy. That's healthy.
It is healthy.
Christina, what you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, I need emotional intelligence and awareness, because I think I've dated in the past. I've let a lot of things slide that were not healthy, and it was because I just really didn't realize like this person is we're not on the same page. And I'm not to say that I was great back then. Like I've grown, but there was some unhealthy dating, and it was just because they were not aware. They weren't aware of how they come off. Gaslighting, narcissism, all of that stuff.
Got me sweating. I know all about that.
I'm sure we all do. Yeah. Like I need somebody who's tapped in, tuned in, and turned on to themselves.
I hear that. So, Christina, what do you bring to the relationship?
I really try to bring me as a healthy woman and a healthy human. I feel like historically, I've motivated any man I've been with.
Ooh, hello.
Which is great. I like, that's actually the feedback I've gotten. And then I really just didn't feel the reciprocity. And that's why I say like that's what I need now for sure.
So you were motivating them, and then they took what you gave them and gave it to somebody else?
Once I was done, I was done. I feel like I bring a woman who is self-aware, always growing, always wanting to grow, emotionally, mentally stimulated. I bring a lot of love. It's taken a lot of healing. I don't think I always brought this. I was always a loving person, but I didn't bring the amount of care and love that I have now. And I bring my little chihuahua with me.
They gotta love the babies now.
You gotta love my dog. That's it.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I'm like, I don't think I could date a person who's allergic to cats. I just can't do it. You're talking about discrimination. I'm like, you're allergic?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah. That's a deal breaker.
You know what I'm saying? All right. So, Nia, do you only date a certain type of person? If so, what are the personality traits that they possess?
I attract guys that are givers. Like, I feel like, because I am a giver. And so luckily I have dated and attracted guys that don't just take. You know, they actually, you know, they give as well. And I think guys who have a good sense of humor, I think I have a great sense of humor. And so I think I attract that. And it's something I think I actually pull it out of them.
I like that though, because I feel the same. Like, I love to laugh. I need to have somebody who's funny. Absolutely. Or like likes to laugh. Like, you know, you can be serious when it's time to be serious. Like, I like somebody about their business, but the fun, the humor, I love that. That's like a must. And respectful, man. Respectful. Yes. There's a meme going around. I don't know if y'all saw it, but it's just like, it says like, get you a guy who knows the sidewalk rule.
Is that like gone out the window now? Because I've walked somewhere and I'm like, bruh, I literally will have to move myself. Like I'm like, bruh, come on.
I remember I dated this one guy in New York,
and he refused to let me walk on the street side. And I was like, every time he would like literally physically move me, and I was like, I love
Maybe it's things like that you notice and are like,
girl. Yeah, it's like one of those, you're like, okay, I see
those
what you're trying to do here.
And that sound that you just made, that's the sound that
But it's true.
It is.
It helps. It helps, and it like shows me where you're at.
Yeah, it's just it's a character, you know. It to me, and it might be something very small, but I'm like, it makes me feel like you are strong, like you are here to protect me. Now, I don't know if it's just me because I'm a daddy's girl, whatever the case is, but a strong man, physically and mentally, who I know is there, who has my back, you know, will protect me if needed. I can count on, depend on, and vice versa, right? That to me is huge in a partner. I'm like, if I don't feel safe with you, it ain't gonna work. No matter how nice you are, no matter how much you're giving, if I need to feel safe, I need to feel like my emotions and my physical, everything is safe with you. And this actually goes to both of you. What are you doing for yourself that will allow you to grow personally and emotionally for you and your future boo?
I've been going to therapy. It's been about 3 years. Therapy has really made me a better person for the next person that I get in a relationship with. You know, she challenges me and she makes me think of what I want, what I like, what I, again, like we were saying, what I'm not willing to settle for. Yeah. I just think the next person I'm with, they're going to be really lucky. And I'm not, because I don't want to take past trauma and past issues into something new. And I pray. And so, but what I do is I pray about specific things now. Like, I want you to have a healthy relationship with your family, like have a relationship with your mother, have a relationship with a healthy one with your family, with your friends, you know, just small, you know, stuff those that you may not about, but they play a big part, you know,
absolutely,
in a relationship.
Yeah, those are vital. Those first relationships, I feel like, and not to say that you can't work on those throughout your life, but those founding relationships are, again, the foundation of who you are and how you go into relationships with other people, whether it be your mother, your father, whatever the case is, your sister, your brother, uncle, aunts, whatever the case. Those are so important. And I think a lot of people, whether it, be us, our parents, just parents in general, whatever the case is, don't really focus on that or don't really understand the power that they have with their children. Because I'm like, you don't understand. You just caused a whole lot of issues for this little baby, that they have to heal now from. And they don't even know it yet. Like, these relationships where they don't feel valued, where they don't feel heard, where they're hurt or, being cussed at or, just left alone. Like the smallest things where you don't think might have this giant impact. And specifically me, I wasn't very close to my mom initially. And I would say in my younger years, I felt like she was never there. I would serial call her if I needed her and she'd never answer the phone. And now I have this need for validation. I need to hear somebody say, I see you, don't worry about it, I got you, or answer the phone. Like if you don't answer the phone when I call, I'm instantly triggered. And then I'm like, wait, I know where this is coming from. It's not that serious. They're probably busy. But I'm just like, it's things that you have to remind yourself of,
that's
even though
acknowledge that though.
But yeah, but that's part of therapy, right? That's what I'm doing specifically to try to make my better for myself and the next relationship or future relationships, because there's so many things that you don't realize until you start to have these relationships and these experiences. And then you're like, I feel like there's a void in me. Whereas now I'm like, I don't need to fill it with another person. I need to fill it with me. I need to fill it with things I love, things I do. I need to have the confidence, the self-awareness. And I think it's just amazing. And I love this platform so we all can have this conversation, especially women of color. You know what I mean? I just had to put my little 2 cents in there. Christina, come on, girl.
I see. I love that. But that's exactly what I'm talking about from the jump. Self-awareness.
Yeah.
Is because you have that and you are able to recognize why do I get triggered when this happens? Or why does this, to be able to circle back and find the origin of that is everything.
In real time.
It's allowing you, exactly. And it's allowing you to grow and it's allowing you to progress. And then now let's say you date someone next year and you start to get serious and that maybe he's not answering the phone, that trigger kicks in and all that, it's like now you're able to work on that. You're able to better react.
Yeah.
I
wish more people, specifically men, and I'm not saying every man is the same, but I wish more men who were just a little bit more in touch and kind of what you were talking about, the emotional availability, understanding what's happening and taking each relationship or each experience for what it is. So I have issues, of course, everybody has baggage or things that they've gone through, traumas, whatever you want to call it. But knowing that in this moment between you and I, this is actually what's happening. This is what I'm saying, but this is how you're reacting or this is what you're feeling. You know what I mean? And like I said, in real time. And I am hopeful that even because of therapy, I see now on Instagram, they have, There's BetterHelp that talks about therapy services and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so now that we start to have it on social media and it's on TV, things like, hopefully more people will get into it. You know what I mean?
I've been practicing a lot I'm visual. Mm-hmm. So I write a lot of things, but lately I've been writing anything and everything. And that's helped me. It's a type of therapy. Mm-hmm. I write maybe something that happened that maybe triggered me, something that I'm aware of day to day, or something that maybe I remembered from childhood. And I start writing it. And when you keep like a written record of things and you will like have that, you can revisit it whenever you want. It could be in 10 years. It could be in 10 days.
Yeah.
But that is a type of therapy that allows you to kind of like see what's going on in your mind and be more cognitive, of all that's occurring with your emotions and your thoughts.
Absolutely. See, and I was going to say that is like, so journaling basically is what that is. Yeah, and it's not necessarily like one specific type. It's just general journaling, which I think is huge because I've done some journaling, and I'm telling you, sometimes I'm like in there writing, and like as I'm writing, I'm like, oh shit, okay, well that's probably me, okay, and then I'm like, okay, let me kind of think back what happened really, instead of being the emotional part of it. Now that I'm getting it out, like I'm like, oh, okay, hold on, that's for me, or this is an issue that I need to bring up with him. We need to have this actual discussion about this specific thing. So I totally get that. Totally get that. I know you're going to say something, Nia.
I was just going to say, I think that also with journaling, it kind of, like Christina said, like 10 years from now, you can kind of see where you were. I know I had found a journal when I was in high school, and looking back, and I was just like, oh my gosh, girl, you are a hot mess.
Right.
Like you were a hot mess. And I was like, oh, thank God for deliverance, because I was just like, oh my goodness, you were so young and you were just so stressed out about the things that you should not have been stressed out about.
Yeah. I mean, come on though. In high school, that was our life. Those were our people. That was everything, our world.
I was
We didn't
dating
have
it
a whole,
like,
I mean, some of us didn't have some jobs. I started like working at like 14, 15. But I mean, like that was
I was kind of
it,
embarrassed. I was reading it. It was just me, and I was like, ooh, I was cringing to myself,
Oh.
like, oh my gosh.
Girl, we probably all been there. I was gonna say, you've known me since I was 17, so we know
But it was
I've been
good.
acting foolish.
Yeah, but I can see the growth, and I'm glad. I mean, obviously that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
that's awesome. What were you going to say, Christina? I thought you were going to say something.
Oh my God. No, I was just surprised at my emotions back then. I was like, well, I had poetry in my journal. I had everything. I was like, damn, like I was deep.
Yes.
Like younger. I was like, oh my God, okay.
I love it though. At least even when you're that young, you don't really understand. But that was basically you tapping into your emotions and tapping into what you feel. So that's a fantastic thing. All right. And I'm going to stick with you, Christina. Do you ever think I might not get married or have kids? Why or why not? And how does that make you feel?
Ooh, I think I think I will have kids. I don't think that's a question. Hypothetically, if I for any reason couldn't have kids, I would adopt kids.
Me too.
I've actually always wanted to adopt.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
I used to babysit these 2 Guatemalan kids that one of my friends adopted. I fell in love with them so much. I connected with these little kids and I watched them grow up. I just want to adopt kids regardless. But with marriage, like I want a life partner, yes, but I'm not sure entirely if I want to do the whole, like, because I feel like weddings and marriage are a little like constructed with our society and just all the other things. But I would like to have both kids and a husband, yes.
And I know you were talking about earlier, you don't feel pressure to get married and have kids. Now, I did. And I was on the whole extreme avenue of all of that. So it started for me when I was about 28, 29. So I was just about to turn 29. And I was like, okay, I haven't dated like a serious dating anybody since I was like 19, 20, maybe. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like, I have a lot of things, I've been sexually assaulted. I've just have so much stuff that I specifically was working on. And I'm like, what if I don't have that? I still want a family. And to me, it doesn't have to look like a husband and children and a dog or cats or whatever. It could just be me and a baby, right? So at 29, I went to the fertility clinic and I started the process. And I got to the HSG. For any of you guys out there who have ever done any of that, you know what that is. I got so scared. I was like, wait, I'm about to be 30 and I'm freaking out. This is probably not the best way to do this. So I had to like step back, but I did go through the process. And that was I was going to do an IUI, basically artificial insemination. And then I went through the process of actually adopting. And then I got to the point of they did the home inspection and all. And I was like, okay, I think I'm still freaking out. Let me hold on. Because I didn't want to jump into it because of the pressure is basically what I'm saying. So I was like, okay, let me kind of travel. And that's what I've been more focusing on. Let me travel and just have fun and get out all of these things that I wanted to do in places I don't want to go. Not that I can't do that with a baby, but I wanted to be able to be selfish and understand like I'm doing it because I am ready, not because I feel pressured and scared. So it was one of those things where like, okay, I'm 30 and they say I only have until I'm 34 to have a baby. Holy shit. Like, what am I going to do? Right. And I'm like, no, relax, pump your brakes. Like, you're healthy. Now it's just time to kind of relax and focus on yourself, back to what Nia was saying. So Nia, what mistakes have you learned from dating in your 20s?
When somebody says that they don't want to be with you, take that and don't try and force someone to do something that they do not want to do, because at the end of the day, you just end up getting hurt. I know past relationship, well, especially in my 20s, it was just like, oh, well, I felt like I was giving so much and they were giving so little, and they were really, even without saying that, they weren't maybe not even interested, or they only wanted certain things, I still pushed and I still stayed when I should have walked away and saved myself a lot of hurt feelings. Yeah. So I think that's a big thing for me.
Sounds like you were dating for potential. I'm there with that one. I understand that one. I've done that many times, even some recently within the 30s. The person I dated most recently, I was like head over heels crazy in love. And I was like, this is it. And I got so excited. And he wasn't there. He was still in the mindset of like, okay, I'm dating, I'm having fun. And I'm like, oh my God, I love him. It's really crazy because the experiences that you go through, whether they're good or bad, it's amazing how much it has changed my perception of dating just within the last year, I would say. You know what I
I
mean?
think
So
communication plays a huge part in that too, because
yeah.
and I'm horrible at communicating. I've gotten better, but when I met my ex-husband,
First step is awareness.
Yes. When I met my ex, me being me, I'm very, if I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. Like, just give me time. I don't want to talk until I'm ready. So I had to do a lot of, I guess, self-reflecting. But to go back to your question, communication is big, so you both can know where each other stands. He's thinking one thing, even though a lot of guys, sometimes their actions say one thing and their words say something else. But
Hello.
That's another story.
Hello. Ain't that the thing? But I think you actually have to listen to what somebody says. It's one thing to communicate and just say, this is what I want. But if you don't actually listen and follow through with that, that's a whole different conversation you're having. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I want a relationship, or I don't want a relationship. And then you continue to do what it is, whatever it is that you want to do, then okay, the communication was there, but you're not following through with it. And that's me. I've done the same things, right? So I think it's very interesting on both sides of the platform. You got to be able to communicate, but then also take heed from what the communication was, right?
That's what a lot of people, I feel like they don't realize. Communication is not just expressing yourself. It is listening.
Talk to them.
And people really don't get that. Communication is like a 2-part thing. It's listening and talking. I don't know why people don't get the listening part as much.
People want to just talk. And it's like, can you listen?
Take in what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't just hear me. Listen to what I'm saying.
I don't think people realize that's a difference. There's a fine line between listening and hearing. I can hear you all day, but you know what I mean? So I'm going to ask, I think, 2 more questions to both of you. Is your current situation how you pictured your life when you were young? Why or why not?
Mine's not. I don't know about y'all. If anything I've learned as an adult is that, like, you cannot, like, what's your 5-year plan? That's like, you can't do that all the time. Like, you can make a plan, but life happens.
Yes,
like, things happen. You cannot foresee what is going to happen. You can't see, like, accidents, relationships, falling in love, out of love, whatever, like, birth, death. Like, you can't just have a 5-year plan and expect it to go like that. I didn't really know where I thought I would be at this point, but it wasn't here. But I'm not disappointed. Well, when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire at blah, 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 blah. Like,
of course.
And then maybe I thought probably I would have a partner. I don't. But again, not disappointed, because I had to get right. I had to heal. Yeah. And I had to do all that.
So Nia, what do you think?
I did see myself with the kid. I actually never really saw myself getting married. I wasn't the girl to be like, oh, like dreamed about a wedding dress or a wedding or anything like that. I just, like, in my 20s, I was just out there just doing, I guess, just really doing me. And you know, Erica, when I met you, we were out there.
We were out there.
Yes.
That's how I met her too. That's how I met her
I mean, listen, you got to have fun. Okay, that's what 20s are for.
Hello. Yes. I saw myself having a child. Didn't see myself necessarily being married. I definitely didn't see myself being divorced. But this wasn't a question, but I wouldn't change anything. Everything happens for a reason. And that sounds so cliche, but it's true, and I'm actually looking forward to the future. Granted, I do wish that I would have traveled a little bit more before I had a kid. Like, I look at you, Erica, and I'm just like, I'm jealous.
No, listen, you can travel. Listen, but that's just it. And I think that's part of kind of what I want people to know. Like, you don't have to just stay at home. You can travel with your baby. Now, she's 5, right? She can go and she can travel with you. You might have a little more to worry about than I do, per se. But y'all can travel. I see there's a woman, I forgot her name. I think it's like The Traveling Child, I think, is what her Instagram name is. I'll have to tag it and maybe put it down and below. But she travels and she has 2 kids, and her and her husband, they just go. And I'm like, that's what I want. I don't think her kids are homeschooled, but I'm like, I want to homeschool my baby so we can live here. So I think it really depends on what you want and what you decide and how your life is set up, really.
But we're definitely going to be traveling. She's had a passport since she was 2.
Yes, ma'am. That is a requirement in this house. Yes. It's true. And I'm so happy to hear that. So, is there any advice that you can give to somebody who is having maybe some difficulty or just kind of getting back into the dating scene in their 30s?
I would just say, don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Like, really give yourself, and this is for me too, give yourself grace, because that's something as women, I feel like we are just so hard on ourselves. Like, society's already hard on us. And then we are hard on ourselves. So it's like, just give yourself grace. It's okay if you mess up. Nothing is ever going to be perfect.
Yep.
You have women in their 60s that are like, still figuring it out. So
that's what life's about.
Really just giving yourself grace and being kind to yourself. Because I know I have beaten myself up, even to this day sometimes, beating myself up. And it's like, I'm doing the best that I can. I would give my younger self that. Just enjoy the moment. That's another thing. In my 20s, I was so focused, like, oh my God, where am I going to be when I'm 30? And now I'm 30. And it's like, okay, now it's like, okay, be in the present. 30 got here so fast. So I enjoy where you are. Don't rush it because time is going to pass you by.
Yeah, and that's not even a joke. All right, Miss Christina.
It's definitely a hybrid of both of your thoughts, because I would tell any woman, like, listen, I get it. He's hot. He's smart. He's successful, whatever it is. Oh, he makes you laugh. But if in any degree he is treating you less than you deserve, or whatever, he or she, any type of relationship is treating you less than you deserve, and you don't feel good around that individual, I'd analyze that relationship. You have to protect your peace. That's what it's about. And if you protect your peace and you're making sure you're giving yourself grace and love and loving yourself and being kind to yourself, like you said, then you will attract those same people. And that's really what it's about.
And know your worth. Know your worth as well.
That girl, because I was going to say, and sometimes it takes a while, even to this day. It's something that I'm still working on. And kind of going back to what I said earlier, having certain traumas or, things that you've had to deal with or overcome, it's hard. And you tend to put up with a lot of BS that you probably shouldn't, but it's all within trying to figure it all out. And I think for me, anybody listening that might need some encouragement, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to take risks. You know what I mean? Just if there's something you want to try, somebody you want to talk to, I'm like, just do that. For me, it's more so of building up the confidence. It goes hand in hand with knowing your worth. But for me, it was just more so building up the confidence that I didn't have. And I was just like, it's time. It's time to learn, time to feel good. And as you learn about yourself, you learn what you like, just start to take risks. Do things that you're not sure about. Girl, I went camping and foolishness. Like, that's not normally something I would do, but I had the best time. So it's just little things, you know what I mean? My advice, just don't be afraid to make mistakes. Do things you wouldn't normally do. Step out of your comfort zone. Going back to that question, right? So yes, I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Before I let you go, I want to tell them where they can find you. So let's start with Christina.
My Instagram is at Real Miss Ledo, RealMS. Ledo. I own Diamond DNA, which is a wellness brand. My primary focus with that is to focus on elevating the mind, body, and soul. And it is a wellness brand. I love empowering other women. I'm dropping an activewear line for women of all shapes and sizes.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Love to hear it. And Miss Nia, for the listeners that heard you on part 1, part 2, she's back. And
yes, I'm back. Yes, you can follow me at redlipny, so redlip_NY.
Thank you so much, ladies. And to everybody listening and watching, this was Dating in Your 30s, part 2. And to my Next Stop Nonstop family, I want to remind you that as a new podcast, it's extremely helpful for our listeners to write a review on iTunes or repost the episode or website link so that we can grow our Next Stop Nonstop family. I want to truly thank you all so much for tuning in today. All new episodes of the Next Stop Nonstop podcast will release on Tuesday of every week. Make sure you tag at Next Stop Nonstop in any of your comments, or if you have a question for me, or if you have any topic suggestions. At Next Stop Nonstop can be found on all social media. And until we meet again, I'd like to wish you all healthy minds and happy travels.